I'm sitting here with Rodney Worley, all the way from Georgia,
Yes,
USA.
sir.
You were over last night playing us a great gig in the Fiddlers with your band, Midnight Run.
Yes.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Really high energy and really good buzz.
Thank you. We really enjoyed being here.
So, Rodney, tell me, what brings you to Scotland?
Well, actually, playing bluegrass.
Yeah.
We've been playing up at Tennessee and had some contacts over here that wanted us to come over here, and so we finally got everything together. Got our shows lined up and everything, and made our way across the pond.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Well, we're very pleased that you came to visit us on Arran.
Oh, thank you. I'm really enjoying the island. It's beautiful, beautiful. Loving the weather.
Oh yeah, typical Scottish weather, right?
Yes, very
And
nice.
Where are you heading to when you leave today?
I think we're going around the island, and we're heading to Edinburgh to play tonight, and then tomorrow, I believe we're playing at the Meeting Room.
And Rutherglen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's with
That's
Alan
Friday.
and
Yeah.
Louise.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I'm unfortunately not able to come to that. I would have loved to make it.
Well,
The Meeting Place is a lovely venue.
is it?
I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm anxious and excited to see it,
Yeah,
to play there. But I've been loving every minute of this trip. It's just wonderful.
So you're a guitar player.
Well, yes. Normally I'm a mandolin player, but on this trip I am the guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what have you been playing on the tour,
As far as song-wise, or
guitar-wise?
guitar-wise, it's I've been playing the little old Martin that I have. I have a 1953 D28, but that stays at the house.
Yeah.
I don't want to travel with it, so
Is that the one you have on the photos on your website?
No, it shouldn't be on there. No.
Okay. Because there is one on there that looks pretty beat up.
Well, no, then there may be one on there. I may have brought it up there, and they took pictures of it. I'm not for sure, but it could be on there.
So D28, 53 did you say?
1953.
So does that have the 1 in 11/16 on the nut?
Yes, and it's the they call it the mystery top year.
Mystery top?
A mystery top. They don't know which kind of spruce it's made out of. As far as in 1953, there's a big discussion about that in the States.
I didn't realise.
Oh yeah. So
I know a little bit about the tree wars.
yeah.
The sort of Adirondack. There's the herringbones, the famous herringbone D28s.
They are.
Did Tony Rice had one?
Yeah, he's got Clarence Watts. Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. Wonderful guitar.
Yeah, I would love to have a shot someday. But
Well, they say that it doesn't really sound as good as you think it does because the action is set so low, but it's for Tony's playing. If I got a hold of it, I would play it and it would just rattle because the
Right.
strings are so low and I play so
Yeah.
hard. But for Tony, it suits him.
aye.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Tarantino film, the one with the vintage Martin guitar in it?
The Hateful Eight.
That got smashed
Yes,
up.
I did watch that, and I heard about that. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Correct. Yeah, they
smashed
were
up.
doing the scene, and where the lady was playing the guitar, and then he got mad and bashed it, but it was actually the original Martin instead of the copies that they'd made. They'd make 6 copies of it,
Aye.
and somehow that just. Yeah, that was a sad thing. I did hear that Martin now has a disclaimer that they will not let any movie or theater
Yeah, I saw that one.
take their instruments anymore, which they have every right to.
Very wise. Yeah.
Yep.
So, who have your influences been growing up? picking?
Oh, well, let's see. Influences, probably Flat and Scruggs, Jimmy Martin and Sonny Mountain Boys, Bill Monroe. I got a funny story about Bill Monroe. When I was about 6 or 7 years old, I would go to my grandmother's house, and she always had tons of LPs to listen to of Flat and Scruggs and, Bill Monroe and the Stanley Brothers and the Osborne Brothers and all of them. And I was actually listening to Bill Monroe, and he was singing "I Found a Hiding Place." And I asked my grandmother when I was listening to it, because he always sung the high tenor. And I turned back at her and I piped and I said, "Grandma," I said, "who is that woman singing?" And she said, "Son, that ain't no woman." She said, "That's Bill Monroe." And I said, "That's what I want to do."
It's that high lonesome
That was
sound.
it, yeah. And I fell in love with that high lonesome sound and his mandolin playing, and I loved it. Never did start to really want to play until I was about 14 or 15.
And did you start with mandolin?
No, I actually started with a fiddle. I'd actually went on a trip up into Tennessee, and they were having a craft fair, and there were people playing the fiddle, and that intrigued me, and I was just mesmerized by the sound that they were producing. And so on our way back from our vacation, I had a little job working at a restaurant, my first job, and told my father when I got paid, my next paycheck, I said, I think I'm going to go buy a fiddle. And so that's what I did, and I started learning on the fiddle.
Right.
Yep, played the fiddle for a little while, about a year or so, and then switched over to a mandolin and really stayed on the mandolin. Mandolin is my main instrument. And then, but I picked a little on the banjo. I don't consider myself a banjo player, and the guitar.
Yeah. That's awesome. And your guitar playing, how did that kick off?
Oh, well, let me think on that. I just, actually, as far as my guitar playing, my mother played the guitar when I was younger, and I would play the fiddle, and then, she would play the guitar. She would accompany with the guitar. And then when I would play more advanced tunes that had different chords in them that my mother did not know, I would have to learn the chords for her to show her. So in return, I was actually learning the guitar.
Right.
By doing that, and I really didn't even realize that I was.
Yeah.
So that's how that came to be. Yeah. But I played when I started playing, like I said, about 16. I played till, just practice and practice. I would actually, and I don't recommend this to any kids, but I would actually skip school so I could go home and practice.
Wow.
So I would, lay out of school, or I would tell Mom I'm sick or something, and just so I could stay home to play. And continually got better, hopefully I did. And I was about 20 when I got my first professional job playing the fiddle with Paul Williams and the Victory Trio.
Okay.
And during the time when I was with Paul, we was actually nominated for a Grammy, and we won Bluegrass Gospel Group of the Year 2 different times. Wonderful, wonderful man, wonderful boss, probably the best boss I've ever had in music. Fine man. And so after I played with him for about 6 or 7 years, I left and went to play with Audie Blaylock and Redline. Played the mandolin with him, sung tenor, and stayed with him for about 2 years. While I was there, we recorded a album. It was just entitled Redline, but we recorded a duet. We put it out as a solo called Lonesome Weary Heart, and actually went to #1 on the bluegrass charts 2 different times. Yeah, it was a real pleasure. I mean, I'm really blessed to be able to do what I've done. And so then after that, I left him, went and played with James King, and in the James King band. That was an adventure. Stayed with him for about 1.5 years till he got sick, and he unfortunately passed away just here recently. So he had cirrhosis of the liver, and I was terrible to hear that. And then after that, I played with Little Roy Lewis for a little while, filled in with him, and now I've been playing with Midnight Run. So can't keep a job. I just can't keep a job.
So that whole time were you based around Tennessee? Most of the time?
Yeah, that's basically, I'm from North Georgia, but I live 20 minutes from the Tennessee line. So when I started playing with Paul, he is based out of Tennessee in Morristown, which is not far from Knoxville, and so is Sevierville, which Midnight Run is, based out of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, which is 20 minutes from Knoxville. So, for the most part of my music, it's been based out of Tennessee.
Right. Okay.
I noticed with the singing last night, you tend to stick to the high parts.
Yeah,
the tenor line.
I do. Yeah, I'm usually the tenor singer in the group. Except like when I sung with Paul. Paul is a phenomenal tenor singer. I used to tell everybody that he could tenor a dog whistle, and that's probably about the truth. But he would always sing tenor with him. But as far as with most of the other bands, I usually sung the high part.
Yeah. And do you rehearse a lot to get those harmony parts worked out, or is it more of a natural?
Well, I mean,
thing?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, you have to rehearse to get that good solid blend, with your bandmates, and if you're not related to these people, if you don't have blood harmony, what we call that, your phrasing, your nuances are going to be different with the words, and so you really have to listen to what your lead man's saying, what your baritone's saying, and how they're phrasing their words, and you have to lend your voice to their harmony singing to give it that full good blend. Yeah. So it's a mixture of both.
I would say for us, I played in a bluegrass band. It was a three-piece.
Okay.
We had a girl on bass, fiddle player, and myself, and I think that's where we struggled the most with the harmony.
Really?
Singing.
Yeah.
It tended to be the same for everything.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't much variation.
I understand.
I think it comes a lot more naturally to you bluegrass boys from Tennessee and Kentucky.
Yeah, well,
I think a lot of that is probably the fact that you grew up listening to that.
It is, and actually, I was talking about my grandmother. She was actually first cousins with Uncle Josh Graves, which was the dobro player for Flat and Scruggs back in the day. So, it's just, I guess I just have that blood in me, that bluegrass blood, from that.
I think it's true. I mean, for us, with the Scottish music, we grew up in primary school. We were made to stand against the wall and do Scottish country dancing during gym lessons.
Really?
Yeah. So we're listening to that kind of hoochter music, from a very young age. And it gets into your blood.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right. It is. Yeah. I mean, you have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to, leave home. I left home and I'll be gone for 20 days. Almost a month, and you really have to be passionate about that to be able to justify being on the road.
Yeah. And did you have to leave family behind
well, of course. I mean, I'm not married or anything, but I've got my parents are there, and then I've got a sister and my little nephew. He's about 5, and so I was talking to him the other day, and he wanted me to bring him a little Nessie creature, and so I had to pick him a little Loch Ness monster up. And
fantastic.
Yeah. So I miss him. I do miss him. Yeah. I'm ready to see him.
Very good.
Yeah.
Tell me what kind of picks you like to use. This is a thing guitar players love to talk about.
It is a thing that guitar players love to talk about. I usually use a blue chip. Okay. I like a thin one, actually. I like mine to be a 35. I have, quite a bit of tortoiseshell. But as we were discussing earlier, like tortoiseshell will wear on you and, misshape, and, it'll break after it wears out. And so I've just really stuck to the blue chip. I mean, it's very reliable, very smooth against the strings. Doesn't hardly wear. As hard as I play, it still keeps its shape. So that's usually what I use, that, and I'll use either Diodario EXPs, J17s, or I'll use Elixir strings on it.
Yeah.
Just because of the coating on them lasts longer.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I use them too.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Not my favourite brand for tone, but for convenience.
Exactly.
They're just, they can't be beaten.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And travelling around Scotland, how's that? How are you enjoying that?
Well, I've enjoyed it very much. I mean, we've been to Ireland, Scotland. I think we'll go into England and then Wales, and then we'll go back home.
You played the Monty Ive Bluegrass Festival?
We did play the Monty Ive Bluegrass Festival. That was great. That was that was just a little gem hidden, and I thoroughly enjoyed that festival. That little village was just absolutely magical.
That's a great place.
It was very, but as far as traveling over here, the craziest thing, I guess, is driving on the other side of the road. I mean, when we landed in Dublin, Ireland, and we rented a car, and they threw me the keys and said, "Here you go." And so I just had to drive on the left-hand side of the road from the airport, and so that was challenging.
Yeah.
But we managed it. We're still here.
So I looked you up. I saw there was a thing called the Spigma Awards.
Oh, yes.
So the Preservation of Bluegrass Music Association.
Yeah.
And you've had a couple of those.
Yeah, I've actually had 2 of those. That's when I was playing with Paul Williams in the Victory Trio. We actually won Bluegrass Group of the Gospel Bluegrass Group of the Year for 2007 and 2008.
Wow, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That's fantastic. There's something else I was going to ask you. Oh yes, I was watching you play last night. You have quite a light touch. It's quite. You were doing a lot of the kind of like a mandolin chop almost, and a lot of your rhythm. But it was so snappy and so bright and fitted the band so well. I was watching your A chord when you were playing with your index finger.
Yeah, the long A.
Up to the fifth.
The long A. Yeah.
I'm going to start doing that.
Oh, do you not play an A like that?
No.
Oh, how do you do it?
I just do the 3. Sort of
Oh, okay. I understand.
Or I do it up at the 5th fret across the strings.
Oh,
so
yes.
Some open strings.
I understand.
But I loved what you were doing.
Yeah, that's the long A. That's I've always Lester Flapp was doing that. Jimmy Martin was doing that, and Jimmy Martin is very heavily influenced on my guitar playing. I mean, to me, he's probably the best rhythm player. But besides that, Paul Williams and J.D. Crowe played with Jimmy Martin back in the 60s. And so when I went to play with Paul, Jimmy had heavily influenced him because he played with him for so many years, and he actually married Jimmy's sister. So, there was a very Jimmy Martin-ish, style to his playing, and so Paul would show me Jimmy Martin licks and runs, and this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want. And so I took all that in, and that's where I got the long A. And yeah, there's I've got a few tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah, that was neat. Well, I'm aware that your breakfast is sitting there getting cold.
Yeah, I see that.
We'll wrap this up, and I will thank you most sincerely for sitting down and having a chat with me.
Oh,
Rodney,
yes, sir.
It's great to meet you
and
to
awesome.
hear you play.
Yes, thank you so much. Enjoyed it. Thank you.